Yeah, so welcome to another episode of Behind the Wheel with Mike. And today we're going to talk about manual, automatic, and paddle shifting. Now, manuals have been around ever since the gasoline engine was around. And the gasoline engine was around starting around 1893 in this country. So a clutch was added to the transmission 1905, and the driver had to rev match the car in order to shift gears. Anywhere from 1 to 3 gears they had, depending on the car. So anyway, that was in 1905. In 1929, they introduced a synchro mesh transmission, and that was in the Cadillac. They put that in the 29 Cadillac. Now, in 1928, they put in the automatic transmission. So they came out close together, and then, with the mesh, the synchro mesh. So 28 for the automatic transmission in an Oldsmobile, and the synchro mesh was put in the Cadillac in 29 for the manuals. 1938, they added an additional way to shift gears. From not only the floor, they went to the column. So they added a column shifter, and that was known as the 3 on the tree, and that was really popular in the 40s, 50s, and the 60s. So, time went on, technology advanced a little, and in 1980, Ferrari's Formula One driver from Canada, Gilles Villeneuve, tested a very crude type of system that would eventually become a paddle. In 1989, Nigel Mansell, driving Ferrari, entered the Brazilian Grand Prix with a paddle shifter and won the race. The first production car in the world to get a paddle shifter was the 1997 Ferrari F355. So anytime you hear anybody say that Formula One brings technology from the track to the street, there's a perfect example. Because Ferrari started looking at the technology in 89, had the win in the Brazilian Grand Prix, and then into the development into the production cars in 1997 with the F355. Was a single clutch system, which resulted in a lot like the shifting of the manual. Although the reason they did it is because it made it quicker. The shifting was quicker. As a result, they had in the Brazilian Grand Prix where he won. So it was a lot faster of shifting with the paddle system. You're not taking your hands off the steering wheel. So it's really phenomenal. The newer cars now, as a 2003 Volkswagen introduced a dual clutch system, which Porsche had been using in racing since the 70s. So from what I understand, now I've never driven a dual clutch system, but from what I understand, the dual clutch system is extremely smooth, and you really don't even feel the shifts. So for people like me that have grown up with shifting, and you go to a system like that, it's a little hard to get used to. So I find a lot of people really, really would rather have a stick shift, and there's people that won't even get a car with the paddle, and if they can't get the stick shift. So I happen to like the single clutch paddle system. I have one in the Ferrari 360. It's only 4 years newer than the first paddle that was introduced in the 97 car, because my car is a 2001. So it is an improved system over the original system. But of course, Rick 430, he's got the 430. They even improved it further. So I like the way it shifts. Again, you're not taking your hands off the wheel, and when you're shifting, you can feel the shifts. So I really like it. I really do. So anyway, that's about now. Just as a footnote, the amount of people today that cannot drive a manual is 31% of the Americans cannot drive a manual. And I put a link below for you to see that there's also articles on people that when they go to steal a car have to get out because they can't drive a manual. So that's deterred some car thefts, which I think is interesting. So if you like this, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to be bringing a lot more content, and the site primarily is used for interviewing people with their cars. So that's a big part of this site. So I really love listening to people's stories about their cars. So